Hey, Charlie, this is Roxanne, and I'm so glad you're with me today and that we get to find out more about how you created the transformation that you created. I think there are a lot of bank CEOs around this country that would be very envious of the trajectory that you've created in just 1 year. It's nothing short of a miracle. I'm pretty sure that you probably are pretty close to being able to walk on water. I'm not quite sure, but you're getting close. And so, can you start off by telling us a little bit about your bank, where you're located, the size, just so people get an understanding of who you are?
Farmer State Bank of Alto Pass started in 1910. It's been a family bank for a very long time. We were a $195 million asset bank in 2000, beginning of 2018. Had a great year. We service Southern Illinois. We have branches in Harrisburg, Illinois, Marion, Illinois, and Alto Pass.
So tell us a little bit about how things were about a year ago when we first got started. What were things like at the bank then?
For the past 3 years before we had joined you guys, we had negative growth. We were slowly losing our market share in loans and deposits, pretty stale to the point of not necessarily knowing if we'd be around in 5 years from now.
That's kind of a scenario I hadn't even thought about. So you did a lot of things since that time, and so tell me a little bit about what have you accomplished now. So give us the before and the after picture and all the key metrics that are important to you.
At the end of 2017, we're 195 million in assets. We have grown over 16% in assets. We are 230 million in assets today. Our loan growth, we had 20% loan growth. We put on over 40 million in loans last year. And deposit growth had almost 18% deposit growth, put on 20 million in deposits.
That's worth talking about right there, because most banks are struggling to put on deposits, and the way that they're putting on deposits right now is putting on expensive hot money kind of deposits, and that's a problem. But you're not doing that at all, are you?
No, we put on of that 20 million, 15 of that million was low cost deposits for us.
Mm-hmm. And before you even share some of the other pieces, can you? I want to talk a little bit about you. You had two gals in the accredited banking professional program who are superstars, and I know that before they were even certified, they went out on 5 deals that they closed, and that totaled how much in total deposits that they pulled in on those 5 deals?
14 million in deposits. They were truly amazing.
That's pretty darn remarkable, especially for a bank that was struggling to get deposits to pull in 5 deals in 2 months. Is pretty remarkable, and so they figured out how to get it done. So what else? What else can you tell us about your before and after picture?
The biggest thing on before is we were never organized in our efforts to run the bank. We were always running from one project to another and never necessarily finishing anything. Since then, we're focused on the direction we're going. We always have 3 items that we are driving towards every quarter, and we're getting things done.
Mm-hmm. That feels good. And what's your culture like now compared to what it was back then?
The culture is truly different. We went from people being miserable at work to flipping to absolutely loving our bank. The customers see it, our vendors see it, the community sees it, everybody talking about something is going on at Farmer State Bank.
Wow. So that's quite a story of what you accomplished in approximately about a year. Right? And probably a lot of people are thinking, well, something must be wrong here. Maybe they're making bad loans, or did they pay their people more, or there's got to be something funky here. So what do you think what's the magic that's been working that has allowed you to move several of these different metrics and ways of being all at the same time, and all of them rather dramatically?
What helped us tremendously was joining with the Emmerich Group to align us with basically their franchise system, so that we focus on what we need to get done. We have educated our lenders and our deposit staff on profit rich sales, so that no longer are we just going out and matching deals. These customers want to be our customers, and they're paying a premium price to be our customers. But we're also giving them the service that no one else is doing. We are sitting down with them and walking them step by step on every product that we have. And when they become our customer, right then they have cross sales of 5 or 6, and we are getting them completely engaged into our environment.
Okay, so cross sales of 5 to 6, that's pretty good. I'm curious where you think you started to get to 5 to 6, because different banks measure that in different ways. Where do you think you were roughly before?
Before, we never even measured cross sales. We were always just concerned about getting loans and never really concerned about building that relationship with the customer. So our cross sales were a 0 a year ago.
Wow. Okay, so I want to talk about net interest margin, because I think you made a miracle happen there too. So not only did you grow, not only did you get not interest-bearing deposits that are massive and very quickly and that are sticky, not only did you get the entire relationship, but you got it all at premium pricing. And what did that do for your net interest margin over the last year?
Went up over 100 basis points. Started out at 4.19 net interest margin to almost 5.3.
That's crazy. So nobody believes that a bank can get a net interest margin of 5 these days. Everybody believes the story of net interest margin compression. So here's the thing, Charlie. You went out of your comfort zone and you really did some things differently, and you didn't stay in the same old rut. You pulled through. And so at the time that you were making a decision to make these changes, I'm sure there were the demons trying to come around that were trying to hold you back, both internally within each of your executive team and externally with things people were saying and such. And so tell me a little bit, at the time that you were making the decision, what would have prevented you from moving ahead by putting this franchise system in place?
Basically, we had some employees that weren't 100% on board. Took care of a few of those right at the beginning of starting our transformation. But we had a large number that just got on board right away, which caused the naysayers to find a new place to work in other different areas. The board of directors saw a difference. They got on board. So from top down, by getting everybody on board, really helped push this a lot faster.
So what made you want to make changes? What was it that compelled you to change from a way of being and a way of doing things that you had been doing for a long, long, long time to a different way of doing things?
Well, our chairman and I sat down and discussed the future of the bank and came up to the decision that if we didn't change, then what are we doing here? And why are we still doing this? Why are we fighting the fight just to fight? And realized that we had to make some changes. And that's when we reached out to Roxanne, to you and your group to help us in that fight.
So what would have kept you at that time from making a decision like this? What could have gotten in the way? You probably had some things you were thinking about, Charlie, kind of going, are these is this really going to work, or are we going to lose all of our people? I know I interviewed somebody recently, and their concern was they would lose 30% of their people, and they lost 2%, which is what their trend had been, but their productivity went through the roof. And so there's all these kind of concerns. What kind of concerns were you worried about?
Probably the biggest concerns were the people. We have done some things in the past that started out on fire, and after a couple months, kind of fizzled out. Never any formula for us to really take. It was here's your new path, figure it out. Not knowing exactly what we were getting into was some of that pullback, since we've kind of done that in the past.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And I hear that all the time. There's a lot of banks that have a series of this too shall pass attempts where it didn't come together. So what would you tell somebody, Charlie, who is facing the same challenges that you were facing at the time that you started?
The biggest would be taking on this endeavor with the Emmerich Group, realizing that no longer is it a fight every day for to get things done. All of a sudden, you're just having a blast coming to work every day with the culture change. You're excited every day. Every quarter comes around and you've hit every single metric that before you never thought you would actually hit. I mean, and when we first started, some of the numbers that we had thrown out there, um, in reality, we probably didn't think we would actually get to those numbers. But you know, keeping goals short term and pushing through them. And after that first quarter, hitting some of those goals, and you're thinking, man, this is really nice. Um, and then the second quarter comes around, and you've blown through those numbers, and you're realizing, you know, we've been doing it wrong for so long that if we'd have done this 5 years ago, we'd be so much farther along and so much better.
Hmm. Well, I'm so glad you got ahead of the recession, whenever that's going to come again, and that you've created such a good, strong franchise. Because I really believe the new game of banking is to not notice when there's a recession going on around you, because you're just working with A+ quality credits at premium pricing and getting all their business. And so, who wants to participate in a recession? I want to thank you, Charlie. You did the work. You've been a great leader through the process. You put together a great team. They love you. We love you. It's so fun working with you. And what a joy it is to watch your numbers just continue to rise. And you've just begun. Oh my gosh, we're only a year into this. This is crazy. So imagine what's possible for you.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you.